Hey, welcome everybody. We're excited to have you here on the live with us. And Melody, I'm super excited to have you here with us today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, everybody, while we're just getting warmed up and people are popping in, I'd love it if you'd say hi in the comments. Tell us, tell us what your name is. Tell us what kind of store you have, where you're from. Just give us a little update so we can say hi and know who's on live with us today. We're really excited to have a fun conversation. So I am in Michigan today, and so I'm still wearing my scarf and my sweater, and I'm all bundled up. And Melody Vanderbaan from Max Retail, we're excited to have you all the way from Florida, where it's delightful and warm. Yes.
Sure is 74 and sunny.
Oh man, that sounds like perfection. I love it. I love it. That's super great. Well, we're here today to talk a little bit about like really a lot of different things, but we want to start to think about with all the unpredictability that we're having right now in the economy,
Mhm.
with supply chain, with these potential tariffs and the existing tariffs that are going on right now, that it's disruptive to our inventory. Disruptive to our inventory levels, and so Melody's an expert at this. She has been a retailer herself, and has a lot of great on the floor personal knowledge to share with us today. And I'm hoping that you'll join in the conversation as we go through this and kind of talk about what you guys are doing, what you're thinking about, what concerns are you having, so that we can talk about that a little bit today as we are live with you today. So, Indy, before we get started, and I have Melody introduce herself, do we have folks chiming in about where they're from and who's here?
Oh, yes, we've got Lynn Stahl from Beautiful Blooms by Jen. Uh,
Nice. Hi,
Nicholas
Lynn.
Devine is here. Crafts on the Move is here. And people are continuing to join, and we have a bit of a lag, so they'll keep.
Okay, that's yeah, no, it's usually like 30 seconds or more between when we're talking live and when it gets all the way to space back and out to Facebook. So it's a long time. So Melody, thank you so much for joining us today. We're really glad to have you. And like I said, Melody Vanderbaan from Max Retail. And just want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and who you are.
Sure. So before Max Retail, I had my retail store, independent boutique in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, which is now owned by a wonderful woman named Monica. And I sold apparel and footwear.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And I loved my store and I love my customers. And yet I did not love my sale rack.
Who loves the sale rack? Nobody loves their sale rack.
Yep.
And I am a little worried that the sale rack might be getting bigger as I don't know, the consumer data right now is not great. They're like feeling a little apprehensive, which might leave us with extra inventory, especially seasonal inventory
Mhm.
that we maybe weren't planning for that slowdown in sales. So what do you think? What are you feeling? What's the word on your street?
Well, I think a couple things go through my head. The most frustrating thing is we lose money in two ways in retail by having too much of what is not selling and by
Ah,
having not enough of what is selling.
100%.
And I think in times like these, sometimes we want to contract and we want to say, let me be safe, let me be safe. But sometimes being safe and not writing those orders is actually going to hurt your sales in a different way. And
Absolutely.
as retailers, we have to keep bringing inventory in. My friend Dan Jablons, who you know well,
Absolutely.
he always says if your customer sees this month what they saw last month, they're not coming next month.
Especially in the fashion forward industries, especially in the fashion industries. That is so true. And it is true. And we have to strike this balance, right? And so I think it is really important that as maybe, our nerves are getting to us and we're feeling anxious, that we are really careful not to, cut off your nose to spite your face. It's like you never ever ever want to stop buying your bestsellers. Like it's just you just should never do that.
Yep.
But
So that's my first word of encouragement is
yes,
although times are uncertain, you are still a retailer.
yeah,
And we gotta do our job. And our job is inventory, but success is freshness. And
yeah.
what do we do when inventory doesn't sell?
Hmm.
And I can tell you, Susan, the number one thing I see with retailers on Max Retail is a platform that helps retailers get their wholesale cost back on their
Hmm.
unsold inventory. But the number one thing I see is that as retailers, we tend to be reactive. And I think the most important thing we can do during times like these is pay attention to our data. Now, I know that
Yeah.
can sound very overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. All I'm saying is we have to be aware of how much our inventory is selling over a given period of time
Hmm.
and to know that it is at risk to not sell. And we have to take action faster, Susan. We just can't delay.
100. I couldn't agree with you more. One of the things that we always talk about in our community is, taking markdowns sooner,
Yes.
on merchandise that's not selling.
Right.
I mean, is by far the better choice. I can't tell you, and this like makes me break out in a cold sweat just to say it. But like there so many retailers that we've talked to say, "Oh yeah, my spring stuff didn't sell it. I put it in a box and
Yeah.
it's in my basement." Like, right, like look at you, you physically reacted.
Yeah.
It's in my basement. I'll bring it out 12 months from now. And
Or we could
or
sell it on Max Retail
or a
now.
better solution.
We could turn it into money and we
Yeah.
could bring in summer goods
Yeah.
and fall goods and holiday goods. And with that box that would have otherwise gone in a basement, we could have gotten 3 more turns of inventory in with that cash.
It's huge. There's such a big amount in carrying unsold inventory, carrying costs. Like I don't know that a lot of people really understand how much it's costing our business when we're holding on to merchandise that's not selling through.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it really it sucks up your cash, like you were saying. It just sucks up your cash.
Mm-hmm.
And I love what you said earlier, like if the customers are coming in and they're not seeing something new, it
Mm-hmm.
also impacts our customer experience in a really big way.
Right.
So I think there's so much to this. And like Bob always loves to say, your store is not a museum, right? Like
Yeah.
it is not the place to showcase your favorite buys from, your last trip to market. It's about moving it through. And, let's just face it, like we all make buying mistakes,
Right.
right? I mean, I was a buyer at Macy's, I was a buyer at Bloomingdale's, and everybody makes buying mistakes.
Yeah.
And you just can't let those mistakes get bigger by not taking action on them.
Well,
So,
super funny, Susan. I have a colleague here at Max Retail, and what she says is a bad buy is like a bad boyfriend. And what is the best revenge on a bad boyfriend is a new boyfriend. Get something new in, right? Like, let's not look at those mistakes. Let's get them out the door, right?
exactly,
And that's
exactly.
probably why our core pillar at Max is discretion, right? No retailer wants anyone to know how much they're sitting on. So when retailers are selling on Max Retail, it's completely anonymous. They're able to connect through Lightspeed, Shopify, and easily tag items that they're sitting on. I'm really excited. We're actually launching our Square integration in the next month and then
Oh, yay.
Wix next quarter. So we're super stoked to be able to support more of our sellers through these automations. And really just let them just say, hey, I need help with these items. I couldn't sell these in my store. And then on Max Retail, we do this entire enhancing process so that let's say this shirt didn't sell in Kansas City. As soon as
Hmm.
that retailer tags it in our point of sale, Max Retail is going to look up images. We're going to look up descriptions. We're going to look up all the attributes, and we are going to expose this item of unsold inventory across our e-commerce partner network to get it sold, to get enough eyeballs on it so that if it didn't sell in Kansas City, if it is sitting on that sale rack and they didn't want a title print blue shirt, that's okay. There's probably someone in California or Florida that's shopping online that is ecstatic to find this exact shirt. And that
Yeah.
is our magic. We send the order back through the retailer in Kansas, boxes it up, ships it out, and the money drops into her bank account as soon as that label is scanned. So we make
I
it
love it.
easy as possible.
Yeah, that's great. And you said earlier that your goal is to get cost back for the retailer, which that's huge because, people could take markdowns early. It's like take a small markdown, see what you can move through. And
Totally.
then, but if they haven't, if they're not buying it,
Half off. If
half
they're not going to
off,
buy it at half off, put it on
they're not
max.
going to buy it.
They're
Get
not
rid
going
of
to buy
it.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. And then we have moved to our free plan for all of our sellers. We used to charge a $35 a month plan. Now this is a free plan. Retailers get discounted shipping labels of $5.99 per order, and we charge a 15% fee when items sell. So there's no cost for this listing enhancement process. And all the order support that we do, we are fielding pre-sale questions, post-sale questions, return requests. Our team does all of that for that same 15%, and all sales are final. So once you get that item
Gone.
out,
I love
it's
that.
not
It's
coming back.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool, Melody. I think that there's a lot of people that can use this service, and I think just in general, I think we're going to have to be a little more, um, uh, you know, aware, like super watching. Like
Right.
we can't just hope that something's going to
Right.
sell down the road. We need to take action sooner, right, in this environment. So, Indy, do we have any questions? And by the way, guys, if you guys have any questions for Melody or if you have any questions for me, we'd be happy to take any of your questions whatsoever. So,
Susan, while she's looking at questions, I have a couple other tips for what retailers can do in store
oh, great.
to sell that at-risk inventories and things that I used to do in my store.
Perfect. Let's hear them.
Okay. My first is whenever a customer walks in, have you shopped with us before? If the answer is no, you show them all the oldest things because it's new to them.
Yeah,
I
I love that.
never show a new customer a new arrival.
Yeah, because you want to
Is
see those for the people who come back time after time after time.
exactly. And what I would do is I would put a little neon sticker on any merchandise that had been in store for more than 30 days. I didn't put an amount on it. I didn't even put a discount on it, like necessarily per se. I much like a lot of people who are probably listening, I really hated markdowns, right?
Oh,
When I
yeah,
joined management one and I got with the planner, I finally held my nose and did it and understand the value and got my turns up. But for the longest time, I didn't like it at all. But what I would
hmm
do is I'd put this little neon sticker on the items that were 30 days or older. And that would remind me that it was old and I needed to be motivated to sell it to those new customers. And then if my staff was able to sell them, I would give them $10, right? Like, so I would motivate my team to get out old merchandise. The new merchandise is for my existing customers. You always want to promote everything new, but you have to have other different spiffs, if you will, to
yeah,
get old merchandise out. The other thing you can do is obviously run like a Mother's Day promotion, like a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live. Run something like that and say, on this event, we're going to be showing you items that we're going to do on Mother's Day. So make it a promotion instead of like a discount on an item. So if you're like discount averse, make it a special event where you're doing this discount for a special event
just for the event. So
just
it
for the
doesn't feel
event.
like you're just marking it down.
Exactly.
Yeah,
For this event only, on Wednesday at 2 p.m., we are going to go live. And on all of the Easter dresses we show, we're going to let you have 30% off. They don't need to know they were from January and February and March deliveries,
right.
but you can host these kinds of events weekly and focus them around your at-risk inventory. Maybe it's just like a denim. Maybe you're going to run like a special denim thing. But here's the real kicker here is when you're running these events and you can just tell people, comment if you want me to hold your size. Comment if you want me. It gives them a reason to come in and you're going to upsell them more. You're going to
I love
sell them
it.
your at-risk inventory, but you're going to get them back in the door.
Yeah, I love it. That's great. Sell them more. I love
Sell
it.
'em more. Get them in the door. Sell them more, get them in the door.
Traffic drivers. This is
Yes.
good. I really, really love this. Guys, right now, in the comments, first of all, click the little like button, give her some hearts. These are great ideas. Let me know. Put in the lives. Are you guys doing, or put in the comments, are you doing live events right now? And
Mhm.
if you are, how are they working? How often are you doing them? I'd love to know. So we can, we can just kind of get a feeling for, um, like this is a new way to do lives, a new, like maybe if you're doing lives once a week, every, so often you're really doing this special, but you don't call it a clearance sale, right? Am I right?
Mm-mm.
You're
Nope.
gonna call it, but you're gonna show
Right.
your discounted merchandise that's on clearance. So I love
Right.
this. It's a great idea.
You're getting
What else
lots
you
of
got? What
hearts
else you
and
got for
thumbs
us?
ups.
A lot of thumbs ups. All
But
right.
you know what?
Yes.
The thing is, Instagram wants you to participate. So every time a retailer goes live, I get a push notification that says Blossom's Boutique is going live. And
Yeah,
it actually prompts me to click on it and watch. Not even when I'm in the Instagram app, because I actually probably don't go on Instagram more than once a week, just because I have two young kids and Max.
you're
So
busy.
yeah, exactly. Max, my third kid. But even though I don't even go on often, I still get invited to join these live events. So retailers, your following is getting pinged, right? We're getting encouraged to join and watch because Instagram wants this of you and of us.
I love it. This is great. This is great. Any other ideas for us? What
Oh my
else you
God.
got?
I will go, well, first of all, let me see if she had any comments because I don't want to take
Okay, yeah,
from
great idea.
Yeah, we do have a few comments and questions I wanted to get to. First of all, Simply Creative in Wheatland says that they use Max
Tina?
Retail and sell pretty regularly. They live in a small town, and sometimes having a customer base across the country can help find the right person.
I love that. You know what? I always say our seller, she is the big thing in her small town. And yes, we work with men as well. Please don't think that was like gender biased, but I love hearing that. Thank you for sharing. That's awesome.
Yeah. She's from Wheatland, Wyoming, so a very small town, but a dynamite whiz-bang retailer. So
Love
we just love
that.
Tina. Yeah. Good. What else we got, Indy?
Tom Crawford is wondering, he says, we have trouble selling a certain size sometimes. Does Max Retail take small numbers of items of just one size?
Yes, onesies are welcome. Single units, no problem. What I love about Max Retail is your single unit might be listed by another retailer as well in another state. And on Max Retail, we can identify it's the same unit across different retailers, and we put it together on the same listing. And when this item is sold, depending on which size it is, the order is routed to the correct retailer. So yes, onesies are welcome because we virtually aggregate them back together again.
That's awesome because that really just brings the collaborative power of everybody together. Because we all know, like, if you've got a big pile of something, it's way more attractive than the one hanger on the rack, right? So this is like virtually creating that stack them high and watch them fly kind of feeling for your merchandise. That's great. Great question. That's a great
Especially with
question.
footwear, right, Susan? Like when you're left with this size or that size, you don't want it on the floor anymore because without fail, customer's going to walk in and say, I want that one. And you're like, oh,
And
you know,
it's going to be your best customer.
it's so frustrating. Which, by the
Yeah.
way, I do want to make sure that everyone in your community knows that as a seller on Max Retail, you also have access to our B2B marketplace. This is where authorized retailers of the same brand can go and get that random size. So to your point, Susan, if that best customer does walk in and they do want a 38 in that particular shoe, you can log into Max Retail and see if it's listed by another retailer and just buy it at cost and get
That's
it. So for footwear, they really love that.
how, what? What do you mean no minimum orders? You could just buy the one thing you need? That's awesome. That's super fantastic. Like when I was a buyer, that would have been like the dream, right? So I love it. I love it. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really
Anything
cool.
else for us, Indy?
Yeah, we've got a couple more questions rolling in. Nicholas owns a pawn shop and he's wondering, is this just clothing and do you take things that are secondhand?
So we predominantly work in apparel, footwear, and accessories. New inventory that is just unsold, but obviously with tags. We do have a segment of luxury handbag sellers. So I would say that is the exception we make when it's pre-owned. It would have to be authenticated luxury handbags.
Like the Birkin bag and all those yummies. Yum. Mm. So fun. That's a great question. So say it again. So mostly apparel,
Yes.
footwear,
Apparel, footwear,
accessories, any kind of
handbags.
hard lines that you take, or like gift items, home decor, stuff like that, or no?
I always say if you can put it in a box and carry it to the post office, we can sell it. But if you gotta lug it or bring a dolly,
Mm.
do not list it with us,
Yeah.
right? So that I would say is the main catalyst. Footwear has the highest sell-through on Max Retail just
Hmm.
because it's very easy for
Yeah.
online sale because people tend to know their size. And then, as for like what brands we sell well, I always joke, if you've heard of it, we can sell it. So
Got
those are
it.
the things that generally have the highest sell-throughs as well.
Got it. Got it. That's great. Good stuff. That was a great question. Anything else for us, Cindy?
Yes, one more question from Lydia. She is wondering, is this available in Canada?
Oh, I wish. I wish. One day we will be in Canada, but we are still navigating those waters as much as everyone else is at the given moment.
Hmm. Indeed. Indeed. Um, Great question. And we always want to be able to offer our Canadian friends every single thing. And sometimes I know there are certain types of, like, especially when you're dealing with like exchange rate and selling in different currencies, it does make it tricky. So you keep working on that, Melody.
Oh, I will not
I
give
know
up.
that you are.
I never
I
give up.
know. That's great. That's great. All right. Well, okay. So we've talked about going live.
Mhm.
We've talked about giving the new visitors to your store a look at your oldest merchandise. And I
Mhm.
like the little neon dot trick, like on the tag,
Mhm.
like just to note your salespeople that, oh,
Yes,
this is something I need to be suggesting if it's appropriate for the customer, because this needs to go.
correct.
So
All right,
this is great.
last trick to
Last trick. All
share.
right, let's hear it.
How do we stimulate the sales of older inventory? I remember sometimes in my store, I'd look around and I would have a lot of size 14 left, right? So I would always buy size 0 to size 16. I had a wide range of customers.
Hmm.
So I would go and I would pull inventory that was size 14. I would go to my point of sale and I would look up customers who have bought size 14 of those brands in the past.
Love
And
it.
then I would shoot a video. So I'd go in the fitting room, like so they could really visualize themselves in there. And I would say, hey, I was just thinking about you. I have a lot of beautiful things in your size. Let me know if you want me to put any on hold or drop off a care package at your house, or if they were out of town, if you want me to mail this. And I would generally not say anyone's name. That way I could use that video for multiple texts. And if I had
Yeah.
like 40 size 14 customers, then I would just text them all
Done.
and done. And then they would respond back and I would see which things I could put on hold. I
So
think everybody also has their bucket of sale customers. So if your point of sale, you go in there and you look at everybody who bought last March, right? Or
yeah,
maybe it was last June, whenever you had your big sale. And I would go back and I would look for the people who love a good sale. And I would text them a video and be like, hey, all of this is half off right now in your size. Let me know what you want. So, you should always have a bucket of the customers you can call for sale. You should always be referring back to a particular period of time where customers came in so you can engage them again. And you should also look at what do I have excess inventory in of a given size that I can pull a customer list and fire it away.
I love this very targeted, very segmented
Mhm.
selling and great personal clienteling. See, from our perspective, maybe we're thinking of it as getting rid of our old merchandise. The customer perceives that as amazing customer
Customer
service,
service.
right?
That's
So
right.
this is what we talk about when we teach the perfect purchase and the 6 steps to the perfect purchase. Like, if you know the customer, you can get right to the show and tell step and say, hey, look, I know you. I know you. I know the things that you want and need. Let me show you.
Yes.
And then you can get them to the perfect purchase. It's so smart when you can target in those ways. Very, very important. So you said text, that you would text these. What if I don't have my customers text number. Would an email with a link to that video or as an attachment, will that work too? Tell me what you're thinking
Nothing is
about
as
that.
powerful. Nothing is as
Mhm.
powerful as a video text. We used to do photos and we would text customers photos. That got sterile a couple years back as people became more stimulated by videos
Mhm.
online.
Mhm.
Images became less appealing.
Yeah, sure.
So that is where we really need to realize, how are consumers changing? How is behavior changing? And as retailers, we have to keep changing, and it can be uncomfortable to do that. But at the end of the day, the better we promote our products sooner, the less excess inventory we'll have later, which is why just getting it out of a box and steaming it and putting it on the floor doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I mean, it works less well than it did.
Thank
It
you.
does,
Yes, you're right.
right? It's not
Proper
as
planning
easy
can
as it
get you
used.
a good amount of the way. You're right. Proper
Exactly.
planning can get you a good amount of the way.
Exactly. And so the reason I asked you that question, and I knew what your answer was going to be, that sending it as an email is probably less effective. The text it will still work, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
that direct text, that feels very personal, one-on-one that way, right?
Mhm.
So that means, guys, that we have to figure out reasons why, triggers for getting our customers' phone numbers,
Yes, absolutely.
right?
70% of my business was clienteling, Susan. I was in a
Yes.
very slow mall. My mall was under construction 5 of the 9 years that I owned it. And my
Oh,
business was still extremely healthy
yeah.
because of outbound.
Yeah, outbound marketing. And so I think you guys you're going to have to come up with some great ways. If you are doing things in your store right now to get customers' phone numbers, I'd love for you to put it in the comments, like share
Yeah.
with your fellow retailers here on the call.
Mhm.
How are you getting their phone numbers? And like, how are they responding? Like, I know that when I get texts from salespeople that I have had a great interaction with in the store. See, this is like the first part. You have to build that rapport. You have to have the relationship. You have to have had that really awesome rapport in the store first,
Mhm.
probably.
Yes.
And then that text it doesn't feel like spam. It doesn't feel
Mhm.
unwanted. It feels like your BFF at whatever the store name is, Grace's or Skirt or whatever, just
Yes.
sent you a text. And we all love it
And
when
you're
our
right.
friends text us.
The trick is you preempt it. When they're in that fitting room or when they're sitting there trying those shoes on, right? You're having this amazing time. You're sharing information about the brand. Oh, this is Go Silk. It's washable silk. Oh, these are the best denim. This is this Italian line. Oh, these shoes are made for comfort. Whatever the case may be, you're getting them bought into the product that they're trying on in a way that's going to make them want more of it. And by
Yeah.
the time they get to checkout, you're already going to say to them, don't worry, I will let you know when more comes in. I know how excited you are.
Yeah.
What's your number? Not can I have your number?
Yeah.
What is your number?
Folks, did you hear that? You need to practice this
What?
and role play this with your team. Not can I have your number? It's the
No,
same things like if you walk up to somebody and you say, "Can I help you?" They immediately go, "No, I'm
no.
just looking," right? No. You don't say, "Can I have your number?" You say, "What's your number? I'll let you know."
Yes.
Great, great
I'm gonna
tip.
let you know. Don't worry, you're not gonna miss out. Because next month, and I would always talk about the next shipment. Oh my gosh, you have got to see what I have on order for next month. I will text you as soon as it arrives. You're getting them
Yeah.
excited about when you reach out. And then when they get that text, they're expecting it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If
Absolutely.
somebody's buying more than 3 items in your store, don't miss this. Don't miss this. If they're from out of town, you say, do you come here frequently? Oh, you do. Your mother lives here. Oh, you come every holiday. Fantastic. So I'll see you for Christmas. What's your number? I'll make sure you get the delivery so you can get your mom something cute.
If this is proactive, personalized selling that gets your customers to the perfect purchase, moves your inventory, So this does a lot. This checks all the boxes right here, guys. So this is fantastic tips. And Melody, would you just go over again? You talked about a bunch of boxes that we're trying to tick. Say them again. You're selling them the older merchandise. What were you using? You said like 4
New
things, and I was like, oh
customers.
my God, I can't write that down fast
That's
enough.
okay. We're going to show, right? Have you shopped with us before?
Mhm.
That is the only yes or no question you're allowed to ask a customer. Okay.
Yes.
Outside of that, it should be what brings you in today?
Yeah.
Because
Who,
that's
what, where, when, why,
open-ended.
and how. All these
Yes.
lovely open-ended questions.
But have you shopped with us? No. Well, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Let me show you some of my favorite things that have been in my store since Jesus was a baby. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's step one. It's all new to them, but it's old to you. We got to get it out. Step two, let's run promotions. Let's get on a video frequency wherever you're comfortable. And I know it's uncomfortable, guys. I get it. You're like, oh my gosh, they want me to be a video personality now. Your customers love you. They
Yeah.
want to see your face, and you are not awkward. You are loved. Okay. So just show up. That's all they want. And
Like,
when you show
look,
up,
look at the two of us here today. Like, I'm like, oh, my hair looks weird today. Oh, well, Melody won't care.
oh,
You know?
no, it's Susan, and I know Susan's heart, and I know her cause, and I love seeing her face, and your customers feel that way about you.
Yeah.
And so you're going to show up, but you're going to show up and you're going to give them a reason to show up. You're going to pick the discount that you're going to give, right? Hey, this week it's 20% off a denim that we are featuring on this live. So comment if you want me to hold your size. And then you'll say, on this one, we have a straight leg. We have a 26, 27, and 29. Oh my gosh, the other size just flew out even faster. I think one left this morning, right? Oh, Susan wants me to hold the 26. Okay, there's only a 27 and 29 left. Let me know. Okay, Susan, I put this with your name on it in the back, right? And then you're going to call her after. Hey, I got these jeans, pulled a couple other things for you. When are you coming in? When, guys? Susan said it. Who, what, where, why, when? When are
Yeah.
you coming in?
Yeah.
Right? So that's
When
how
are you
you're going to
coming
get
in?
people in the door to buy your at-risk inventory. And then when they come in, you're going to sell them something else too.
Yeah. When they come in for the jeans, they're going to buy 2 tops, a belt, some earrings, and a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Because you're that good. Because you're
Yes.
that good, guys.
Exactly. That was our next tip. And then remember, we want to put like some kind of a notation on our tags. It can be the tiniest dot of a highlighter, just so that you know, uh-oh, I've had this here too long. My team needs to be motivated to sell this. Figure out what your comfort level of a spiff is. I found $10 to be very motivating. And if my customers sold 5 old items on an invoice, I was happy to pay them $50 because I knew otherwise that inventory could be there the next 90 days. And I wanted those 5 hangers for something new.
Yeah. And you're going to have to pay to move that old merchandise.
True.
Either you're going to take the markdown or you're going to give it
True.
to your employees.
Yeah, give it to the team.
Give it to the
Totally.
team. I love it.
Yep. And then
Good one.
clienteling. We talked about clienteling by size, clienteling by customers in the same month of last year. We talked about having a list of sale customers that are just motivated to buy sale. And if all of that fails, you sell it on Max or do it in tandem. Put it on Max and do all those things and see who sells it first.
At the same time.
Yeah.
You got to put all the tools into play. I love it. All right. So you talked about how Max Retail works a little bit when we first started. Give us the step-by-step, the rundown, and how it works.
Okay. So it is our goal at Max Retail to help retailers turn their inventory faster. We understand that there's only so many people who are going to walk in your door and be interested in that inventory when it's full price. And if they walk in and they're not interested in it when it's on sale, it is very much a liability for you. So we built this platform where retailers are able to list their excess inventory while keeping it in store. And Max Retail has a technology that will enhance your product data to where it can be listed online on various marketplaces and e-commerce sites so that it has exposure to over 400 million end consumers.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Before, note where you start, because I have a little question. Maybe it's asked, and maybe other people have the same question. So if I've got it in my store and it's listed on Max Retail, you're connected in with my POS, right? Is that how it works? So that if I sell it in my store, you're not
Comes off.
Okay.
Yes. So for Shopify and Lightspeed R series, we have those integrations today.
Okay.
By the end of next month, we will have Square live, and that will be real
Nice.
time as well. Our other retailers are able to list by sending us an on-hand report, and we will list everything. And then if they sell it in store, they just need to take it off of Max Retail. Half of our retailers today do it that way as we
Yep.
work to get more integrations up. And it's
Sure.
just a matter of having that frequency of, oh, they'll normally put like a little neon sticker so that they know it's on Max. And then if they ring someone up for it, they just click to their Max Retail tab and
then
it takes
just
like
take it
1
off.
second to remove it. So
Perfect.
that's what happens if you're manual, is what we call that.
Okay.
All right.
Manual,
So
but not hard. It's
manual,
easy.
but not hard. Exactly. Because we do all the listing for you. So instead of you having to like list stuff on like a ton of sites, like you just send us an on hand and we list and you just keep it up to date. So now when items sell on any of our e-commerce partner sites, it's completely anonymous. There's no tie to your store. It does not say your store name. Nobody knows it's your unsold inventory. That was always the most important thing retailers said to me is, I'm embarrassed by this. I don't want anyone to know how much I'm sitting on, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't even realize how much we're sitting on, Susan.
I know.
It adds up.
Does.
It adds up over time, it adds up over seasons, and it's money. At the end of the day, it's money hanging on racks, sitting on shelves. So anyhow, that's what we love about Max Retail is our average retailer makes around $2,200 a month from their sale rack. Now, a larger retailer, if you have even more inventory than that, their payouts can be anywhere, 5,000, 10, 15,000 a month. It just depends how much inventory you have. But the
Right.
threshold for success is we want you to have at least $10,000 of wholesale value listed to get that 2,000 payout. If you only list $1,000 of unsold inventory, I can't pay you 2,000.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yep. And so the other thing is we built this really great feature recently called price drops. So let's say you're really motivated to sell that inventory and it keeps aging. You can actually lower your price with time on Max. So we're going to try to get you your cost back initially, but let's say after 30 days, you're like, hey, let's drop my price by 5%. What that does is it refreshes your inventory across all of our sales channels and it brings your listing back up to the front page with the new lower price. And every time
Nice.
a price drop happens, it gets a boost again. And that's been really meaningful for sell-through as well.
Yeah. And like, even if you can't get your full cost back, at least you have to get something.
Right.
You've got to get something back, some of this money back that you paid for
Yep.
this merchandise. And markdowns are just a fact of life. We can do all the things we can do, proper open to buy planning, all these things to try to minimize our, end of life product markdowns. But it's never going to go away. It's a part of the retail game.
Right.
And we just got to be smart about how we do it. And I love that Max Retail has come out with this really automated tool for everybody. So say again, like I know mostly that it's super effective with ready to wear men's and women's. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Footwear,
Yes.
all kinds of accessories types of items,
Yep.
handbags, scarves, belts,
Totally.
whatever shoes.
And we
And
do have a minimum price. It has to be at least $20 wholesale or higher to list it on Max Retail. Anything below $20 at the end of the day, it's like after you pay shipping and everything, you should probably just
yeah,
donate it,
donate it to your local, buy nothing group or whatever. So
Exactly.
yeah, good. Love it. And but if there's other things, like if it's toys, or if it's I don't know, fabric, or dog collars or whatever, if they can take it to the post office, you can list it and try to find a buyer for it. Yes?
Yes, but I would say the categories we do better in, the retailers will be more satisfied in. We
Mhm.
do have, I would say if you do have anything like baby or
Oh,
toy,
good one.
as long as it's more than $20 wholesale, or pet, we do have partnerships with like Target. And so I could see those pet accessories potentially doing really well on Target. Something like that goes through my head. But I'm always I never want to oversell what we can do.
Sure. Yeah, no,
And
like
that's why I
need to
like
be
just being
realistic.
really clear. Yeah, like I like being really clear. And when I see a retailer and I see, okay, they have known brands, they're in a small town, and they don't have a department store and they really don't want their customers to see this anymore. Like that's to us like a real slam dunk. Like some of our biggest customers are in like Butte, Montana, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
pretty amazing. And then we have like big city customers too,
Yeah.
who just have very small stores and they don't have back room, right? They don't have anywhere for excess inventory. So they use us because there's no floor space and you got to keep it fresh. So it's fun to see the different use cases of Max Retail.
I love it. That's great. Indy, do we have any questions from the group about clienteling, about text messaging, or any questions just about the Max Retail service at all?
We do have a question from Simply Creative. She was wondering if you guys have any tips on keeping track of what items your customers are interested in.
Like through our sales channels? I'm
I
trying to-
believe so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We do send out an email. It's called like your personalized insights. And then we'll also send out any upcoming promotions that are going to be going on across our sales channel network. So I would say make sure that you're getting those emails. If you want to email success@maxretail.com, then our wonderful guy Tom on our team will make sure that you are getting those emails. Sometimes, like if you opted out of a marketing email from us, you might not be getting them. So I would say success@maxretail.com, send an email and say, can you please make sure I'm enrolled in your marketing emails? Because we send those out like every week, every 2 weeks, just to let you know, here's the brands you should list, and that's custom to your store based on what we know you've listed in the past. Here's the categories that are trending right now. And then here's upcoming promotions that you can enroll in.
Yeah, great, great. Okay, good. That is fantastic. All right, Indy, anything else? Any other comments? Any other thoughts that people
Um,
have out there?
Sure. It looks like Genevieve just popped in and answered this, but just so everybody hears it, Nicholas was asking about the return process once something's sold from Max Retail.
Yep,
You want it?
there's all final sale. So as long as you don't ship out something damaged or erroneous, it's never coming back to you.
So Max Retail takes care of all that stuff.
Yes, we absorb returns, and I have a room to my left where I look at all of them.
Oh, that's funny. That's good.
Believe me, like there's unsold inventory that's still like permanently pictured in my brain. Like this one Argyle dress. I'm like, what was I thinking? Asymmetrical hem. And I probably stared at it for like a year and a half before I finally dropped it off at a consignment shop. And I was like, please put me out of my misery.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I had sold that on Max and anyone returned it, I would have been like, so that's, I think, why I feel so firmly about making sure inventory doesn't go back to our sellers, because we don't want to see it
You
again.
want to be done with it. Once
We
you've
do.
sent it off, you want to be done with it.
Bye.
Well, you guys, I think this has been a super great conversation. I appreciate it so much, Melody. You know, we since the very, very beginning of WhizBang training, I think one of the very, very first programs that we did, we taught like inventory management, because it's so important for you guys. This is
Yeah.
where your profits live, friends.
Right.
This is where your profits live. And I think the title of one of those very first workshops that we did was How to Buy Smart. So the money sits in your bank,
Yeah.
not on your sales floor. And
Yes.
this is exactly what Max Retail does. It helped take that, like the all those last bits that you can't easily move,
Right.
and move them for you. So I'm so glad you created this piece of software. This was your brainchild, and like just real quickly, how did you come up with this idea? Like what
Well,
inspired you?
I was a rep back in 2009, 10, 11, 12. And my retailers without season, when I would go and show them the new collection, they would point out what didn't sell from the season before. And they would say, what are you going to do about it, Mel? And the brands never wanted to take it back.
Yeah.
And yet I knew at that moment, if I didn't help them, that they were going to buy less from me or nothing at all, which is logical. There's nothing illogical about that. So I began to pay attention to what retailers are doing well with things in other areas. So if I was in Baltimore and, one retailer couldn't sell the size run of Henley dresses, I could call the other retailer in Birmingham and say, hey, Leah, I know you're blowing out of those dresses. I have some more. They're not coming from the brand, they're coming from a retailer, but how about I send them your way? And she'd be like, send them on over, honey. And I
Yeah.
was doing this every single day for my retailers. So I saw it was helping, but it was completely unscalable. And then in 2012, when I opened my retail store, now I had a sale rack and nobody was helping me, Susan.
Exactly.
And that's
Yeah.
when I realized, yeah, it wasn't $2,000 worth of dresses sitting, it was $100,000 a year of financial losses. And for 4 years, I would look at my sale rack and know that somebody out there wanted that merchandise because there was nothing wrong with it. It just didn't work for my customer base in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. And so finally in 2016, I cried uncle and I said, I've got to try to solve this. So I called up the retailers that I used to sell to when I was a rep. And I said, hey, what have you been doing about that sale rack, about your inventory that doesn't sell? And they said, nothing. Well, what am I supposed to do about it?
I
And
keep lowering the price.
yeah. And
Yep.
now here we are, right? Like that was 2016. Here I am in 2025, and we support over 2,300 retailers in all 50 states. And we have a lot more work to do. But
Going to Canada.
yeah, exactly, exactly. But it's super rewarding. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't look at the names of the retailers and look at what sold and feel that impact to say, wow, look at that shoe. It's sold. It's great. It's gone, like, and sometimes I'll be
Look
like,
at
oh,
it.
that's so cute. I can't believe that didn't sell. And I'm so glad we sold it. Right. Like there's all these range of emotions when you see all these different items that are being sold, but it's really rewarding.
That's great. That's super great. All right, Indy, last comments from anybody?
I think we have answered all of the questions today.
All
Great.
right, I think Indy's been putting the link to Max Retail in
Yes,
the
I have. Yep.
chat. So if you want to go check it out, certainly wish you would do that. I think we're really excited about what Melody's doing and how the company is growing and just this amazing, like I said, it's a tool. It's a great tool to put in your tool belt. You guys have a lot to do as retailers, a lot.
Yep.
And so worrying about your unsold inventory, worrying about your clearance rack, that dusty scarf in the back, shoved in the back basket that's been there for 9 months. You don't have time to worry about that. Let
Right.
Melody worry about it. Let her
I'm
do
here
it.
for it. I'm here
Yeah,
for it. You go focus on full margin merchandise. I'll take
I
care of
love
the
it. Yeah, that's great. Fantastic. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for signing in. And of course, if you've got any questions about this, you can give us put a comment or put a post on our page. We'll get back to you, and we'll get you in touch with Melody too and you can click on that link, and I'm sure get to her through the company. So
Thanks
there we
so
go.
much.
All right, guys, we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.